Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to try something a little bit experimental. I'm going to do a wet into wet painting. I've already used this technique around the edges here, but I will be trying it here in the center. This is Tangerine LaCroix. You don't have to use LaCroix if you feel too scared. You can just use regular water. So this brush has a tiny bit of red paint on it, which I normally tell my students to check their brushes. So I'm kind of breaking my own rules. But I'm actually about to paint this area red, so it is not stressing me out too much. Now some people will stretch their paper. That's a thing. You can stretch your paper. So if I had wanted this to be stretched, I would put it on this similar board, wet the whole thing, and use this special stretching tape. And the reason people do that is to avoid these little pockets right here. However, I have a lot of reasons I don't do that, but one reason is that once you get the paper wet, you start to break down the sizing, which is this kind of glaze that protects the paper, right? Because this paper is made out of cotton. We're pouring water on it. So the sizing protects it. And once you wet the paper, the sizing starts to break down. So I'd like to limit that exposure to water. And so for that reason, that's one reason. This isn't super wet, so if we want it to be very wet in some areas, we'll just add some more of our LaCroix, okay? Okay, I'm just rinsing my other brush, making sure there's no water on it. I have three kinds of red here. I have this leftover red that's just kind of miscellaneous reds. This is Winsor Red from the Winsor Newton Professional Series. And this is also Winsor Newton. I think this is called Rose Opera. Some of them are called Opera Rose, some of them are called Rose Opera. I think this is a Rose Opera one. So this one's slightly more on the blue side. Super fun color. Okay, now we got to get going before our paint dries. Or before our water dries, I mean. Now, do you see this kind of fishtail swirl here? I don't want that to settle like that, so I'm just moving it around. Working wet into wet like this gives you greater opportunity to make changes. And it's not making the same kind of record of your movements, so any little slight mistakes you can kind of quickly fix. Any little oops moments. This is just the first layer. So I'm really focusing on just getting an even application of paint. Sometimes you can sweep it off the paper too. And then pick it up with your towel that way. Let's get rid of some of that. Perfect. Move around while you're painting too. But for the camera's purpose, we'll keep it kind of still. I'm trying to get some of this up. Perfect. Then I'm going to kind of smooth that out. Now, this has some areas here that will dry darker than this area, and here too. But this is going to kind of create a sense of volume. So I'm going to just leave that. Now all I'm doing is just managing the way this is drying. Okay, so I'm going to put a few more layers on this. So we'll revisit this for a wet into wet demo part 2, so stay tuned.